to Saxthorpe Farms. I'm throwing this picture in quickly because it looks awesome. Such a good job, Farms in Briscoe. So a bit of a weird video. I'm going to talk to you for a bit, and then live me will be here, and then we'll be back to future me. So just showing you a little bit of footage of some of the harvesting contracts that I've done, but I mainly recorded this because an awesome deal came up in the sales and I wasn't set up to record properly, but I wanted to grab it. So we're doing it this way. And it is, so I was initially tempted by another AgroStar, you know, nice little tractor. And then we will get to things like this in the future, but there was a Series 7 Tier 4 F for £50,000 to £53,000. I could not buy this. So we're going to borrow some money. Yes, I know, more loans. But having a second big tractor and a third field tractor is going to make so much difference to how much work we can get done on here. So we're going to borrow 60 grand. Yep, it's an extra 2,500 a month. It's not that bad. It's really not. And I'm going to get it delivered to the store. So I was just making sure that store deliveries wasn't set to anywhere weird on the map because I've been arsing around a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to go for a funky number plate. I'm going to re-number plate some of the others. Hopefully the fans that have just kicked in on my laptop aren't too loud. So we're going to go for Sax 4. This is the fourth tractor you've just brought. We're going to go for Sax 4, as in Saxthorpe 4, and then OTM, own the map. Yeah, I just could not buy this. I did a short on this tractor a little while ago. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm not sure how I've done the first bit of this video, but you will have seen some footage of me doing some contracts and me buying this new tractor. So this is another Deutz 7 Series. This is a 7230, not a 7250. So slightly older model, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I should know, but you know. But it was on sale and it was 50 grand. So you had to jump at that. You see the money has changed. I'm doing a thing that I really hate people doing in series and doing a bunch of contracts off camera. But these harvesting contracts took a long time. So I have harvested field 16, field 28, and field 24 is in progress. We only have one combine that can do that because we only have one header. From the contracts we've done so far in September, we have made 100 grand. That's pretty nuts, isn't it? That's the harvesting contracts we've done, and I've just come back from doing a seeding contract, which is why we have the seeder on the back. I did actually try doing a ploughing contract. Turns out our plough doesn't count as ploughing for ploughing contracts, which is a little bit annoying, but hey, it is what it is. So I felt we should probably stick in a pressure washer. And we'll do that next to the fuel tank, so that we can refuel and hose down at the same time. My plan for my next job is to go grab the bales off of the field. I'm going to be using auto load for that. I'll probably just leave them on the trailer and manually unload them later on. But this seeder worked really nicely. So this is the horsed 2-part seeder that we brought, or I brought. We are okay. We could do the repair actually. So let's get that done. I don't think I serviced this after I picked it up used, so that could be why it needs a quick repair. So let's do that. We have a whole load of stuff that needs repairing and washing and things. Basically, I didn't have anything to wash it with, and I didn't want to do too much off camera in terms of progressing the farm. So I will do contracts off camera, but I'm not going to do, you know, other things off camera. So you'll see the one combine that's back is pretty messy. The two grain headers are very messy. They all need a wash and a service. The grain headers are done for the year unless we pick up more contracts. There are fields growing, and that is possible. The two that I've done and the one that's in progress have been quite big jobs actually. And it's quite nice because I'm getting to tour other bits of the map, but they are quite big jobs. So yeah, I'm not sure how many more of those we will do. There were some fertilizing contracts, and it was annoying that I didn't have a tractor to be able to do those. And that was one of the nice things about seeing this come up. I've been scanning the sales, and yeah, as soon as this was there, it's like, yep, I have to borrow that money to do that. So I have just manually added auto load config to this, but I haven't added auto load into the save. So I'll go. I'd manually added the what I hope is going to be a config that will work for universal auto load into the trailer, but then forgot to actually enable universal auto load. So done that now. Yeah, I'm not going to spend the time bale collecting on here. Really want to focus on field work. So there will be some bale collecting because generally I enjoy bale stacking, but for now I just wanted to get these off of the field and into a shed. So we will that enable bale stacking mode. I wonder if there we go. I'm wondering if I have an old version of universal auto load on here that doesn't have bale collecting mode. It appears that I do, which is a little bit annoying, but my config is at least working, which is nice. So we'll get all these bales collected. I want to get this field plowed. I think no, it doesn't actually need plowing, does it? Well, I want to get this field ready to plant, basically. I have a poll up, or I had, because it will have been done by the time you see this video, about what to do with the potato field. I was curious as to whether people agreed with me that I should plow those in, because I had said I wouldn't lease equipment and I don't want to buy a potato harvester at this point for one field. So when I last looked, it was very much in favor of plowing them in. So I will double check that in a moment, but that might be the next job that we get on with. So because I think that field is going to be oats, which we could get planted next month. That's the only planting we need to do. But the rest of the field work I can do as I go through winter in terms of prepping the fields. So we're probably going to need to get some lime on those potatoes, that former potato field as well. Yeah, so I'm going to get these loaded up and I will see you back at the yard. I've got the first load on. I did just double check, and I do have the up-to-date version. It just doesn't seem to be giving me the option to enable bale loading mode. Whether it's, I don't remember if these are a different size of bale. That could be it. I don't remember. I really don't. Anyway, it's not a problem. We have saved doing a bunch of stacking. There is a very slow moving tractor there. I wonder if that has cruise control set. Let's go catching up. Yeah, it does. There we go. It also needs fuel, so it looks like they might be going to stop in at the yard for fuel. We'll see. We'll be following them. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about me doing all the contracts in the background. It was, I've got to admit, it was kind of fun to just sit and play Farm Sim and not worry about recording a video. It was kind of weird, but it was kind of fun. It's been a while since I've done that, so yeah, it was quite nice. You know, you can see courseplay for the sunflower field, and it's over halfway through that, and it's still got an hour and 7 minutes to go. So that gives you some idea as to how long these contracts have taken. So the other 2 canola fields, I used the 2 combines in each field. So we were doubled up, and that took about 2.5 hours to get those harvested. So yeah, it wouldn't have made a particularly exciting video with me doing 5 hours of harvesting contracts. Obviously they're quite big fields, you know, they've all been 10-acre fields, which is making them take a reasonable amount of time. They paid us a lot of cash, so I'm not going to complain. And we've got a lot of extra crop off of them, so, and we're going to be getting sunflowers, which is cool because we already have some sunflowers in store. I'll show you in a minute how much canola we got off of the 3 canola contracts that we did. So if I jump in here, we got 52,000 litres of excess canola, which is a lot of cash. Oh, we're using Bushel Plus now, so that was part of it. But yeah, it was a lot of work, and so we got a decent reward from it. Been slowly expanding the auto drive network. I had to fix some things in it. I think I mentioned in the last video, I ended up creating a separate save to try and build a bigger auto drive network, but I think they're at about equivalent points now, which is a bit annoying. So I'm not sure what to do there, but yeah, it's growing. It's quite handy. I've slightly changed how I'm doing it, in that I'm now doing secondary routes around the fields to discourage auto drive from using the loops around fields to get to places. That was a tip from Farm Sim Briscoe, actually. So the Deutz is off to refuel. We'll have to keep an eye on that to make sure that it can actually get to the fuel point in the yard. So I do have a loop set to go past it, so hopefully it will. There is also a loop that goes past the fuel station, so that's also an option for it. But normally I switch off the refueling option at auto drive, but because I'm relying on it quite heavily to travel quite long distances, I thought it was more sensible to have refueling enabled, so that auto drive can just refuel some of the karting tractors if it needs to. And at the end of the last video, we saw that it actually went and refueled the combine just before it finished cosplaying, which was also really cool. I think longer term we need to get a fuel Bowser to have out with us for some of these bigger jobs. And we've got more tractors now. So another thing that I did between videos, because with Bushel Plus, the combines can't tow their header trailers because they have the Bushel Plus on the back. So I was using the little old Deutz to tow one header trailer, and then what I did, because I was running both combines in the same field, I got you can have a hitch on the back of the Richard Westons. Originally the plan was to put the header trailer on the back of that trailer, and that didn't work. So what I did is I hitched both of the grain carts up to one tractor, and the other one towed the header, and then when we got to the field, dropped the header trailer off, and each tractor took the grain cart. And that worked really well. Actually, I've just driven past the entrance to my farm because I am a noob. Yeah, that worked really well. And so the field they're off at now, because it's sunflowers, we didn't need a head trailer, but that did work quite nicely. And everything was really well behaved with using Courseplay and auto drive, and they managed to deal with the pretty long cart up and down the map. Yeah, it was good, very successful. Let's stick these in the shed, and then I think we're going to grab it's a subsoiler rock. OBS crashed just then, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, I was just saying the plan was actually a subsoiler. And that was the problem with the contracts, I believe, is that it was subsoiling the field, not actually ploughing them, and that meant that it would let me work the field with it. And so I let it run for a bit on course play, and then I checked back and it's like, you have 1% progress. It's like, okay, that's not brilliant. So yeah, it was letting me work the field, but it wasn't progressing the work. Hey, how you Deutz? And I'm Deutz as well, because everything's Deutz. Yeah. Did it refuel? Hope it did. I'm assuming it went around the back there to spin round. You can follow it. So slight complication here. I've just rechecked the pole as I was on my way to go plough the potatoes in, and actually it's 64% don't waste the crop, and 34% you said no leasing. So it seems like the majority of people actually want me to harvest the potatoes. Pretty sure this field also needs ploughing. It does not. Okay. So we don't have any ploughing to do. There goes my plans for the evening. Darn you lot. So it seems like in the morning we will be leasing a potato harvester. And we'll get those potatoes dug. I mean, hopefully the yield from the potatoes will cover the cost of getting a harvester at least. And I didn't go in and fix the issues with the pH and stuff, or fertilizer, because I wasn't expecting to harvest them. I'm actually going to leave this out over here. Now, so I think that I will see you guys in the morning for some potato harvesting. So we just finished up the contract in field 24. I need to delete the course play course. So I'm going to collect the nearly £18,000, which is pretty nice. And we've got about 17,000 litres of sunflowers on the way back to the silo as well. And what that means is this field is now cheaper. Well, it says minus 15%. That's the settings have changed. No. Okay. I don't think we've done any other contracts on that field, so that's kind of confusing. I'm just going to check some other fields, actually. So that one also says minus 15. That one says minus 5. Okay. That one says minus 5. That one says minus 15. That's very weird. I guess we'll just keep an eye on that. I'm not planning to buy any of those fields at the moment anyway. So 75 grand in the bank. As I said, the poll has changed, so we're going to be harvesting the potatoes next. Okay, it is October 1. It is the morning. The game is saving. We are at the store. Our corn is not ready yet, but it does have plenty of, well, it has another month to be ready. There are a few more fields ready to harvest, but I have a problem. There's another somehow harvesting contract. There's some cultivating contracts, lots of baiting contracts still, ploughing, weeding, but we're going to concentrate on our own harvest. So let's just check the sales. Again, I have a problem. No. I'm going to say this up front, actually. I don't normally let the audience dictate the series as much as this decision is. I am not a creator who does everything to satisfy the comments, because the comment section is quite small anyway. So I had said I wouldn't lease equipment in general, and I could have messed around so that we didn't have a field of potatoes, but we have. I was going to plow it in, decided to put a pole up. The pole is saying I'm going to double check. The last time I looked, it was saying to harvest. Before that one I looked, it was saying to plow, but it was a bit more skewed in the direction of harvest when I last looked. So one last check. So the pole is 64% not to waste the crop. So that's what we're going to do. I won't be doing this in future. We won't be planting crops in future that we can't harvest. If we buy a field that has a crop in that we can't harvest, tough. This is kind of inherited. So we don't want a number plate because it's leased. And so we are going to lease this £30,000. Wow. Do you know, I don't think it's worth it. Let's do some sums. Potatoes have a best price of 376. So nothing like doing this stuff on the fly, is there? So let's say with hours, it's going to cost us 40,000 to lease. So we need to get 106,000 litres off of the field to break even. So, and we've got an expected yield of 65% and a field of 4.39 hectares. So I've just done some very, very rough maths, very rough. And I think we'd make about £15,000 profit harvesting this field. Or we could go harvest a field of sunflowers, or we could send the combines off to harvest a field of sunflowers, the combine, which we have, make the same amount of money and not go against the kind of intent of the series. And I could come plow this field in. I think I'm actually going to do that because that sits better with me. I think, where's field 27? We'll actually make more out of that contract than we would out of harvesting our own field. Big old field. So we'd be running along there. So we've actually got all of the auto drive route pretty much as well. So I think that is what we are going to do. Yeah, that feels better for me. I was kind of unhappy about leasing the potato harvester because it goes against what I said I would do. So I'm going to ignore the poll and we're going to plow the potatoes in. And we're going to send off the 7250 with, and jump in this tractor and start heading back to the yard. I'm going to use this tractor to plow this field in. We can send the 7250 and the AgroStar off to cart for the combine. We're making more use of the kit we actually have, so we're not spending out money. I prefer that. I definitely prefer that as an option. So I did ask you your opinion. I'm ignoring it. after all that faff I made at the start, so I'd left the 7250 just at the farm there to stage it, ready to bring the potato harvester over, but no. So I'm going to get everything set up, and I'll see you up at the sunflower field to get that going, and then back down here to get some subsoiling, I guess, going. Take 2. So I've just sat and recorded this commentary section, which is about 22 minutes. I've just gone to edit the video, and something weird happened with the audio file, so I'm doing it again. Yay. So hopefully we can get through this together. I've left the 7240 filling the lime spreader with lime. What I'm going to do is I've jumped in the 7250, and I didn't have auto drive set up for field 27. So I sent everything up to field 28 to get auto drive to do most of the work. We're going to grab the contract because that would be really useful. And then basically I am going to get the auto drive network extended as I need to. So I'm going to record a 2-way course from here. So that's a right click on record. Drive down to the field because this is a fairly narrow track. Yeah, and then what I'm doing, you can kind of see it in the field next to me. I am, as I need to, doing 2-way or 1-way routes around the roads and the lanes, and then around each field I am recording a 2-way secondary loop so that the workers can find their way out of the field. But I found that where I was previously doing them as just a 2-way loop, workers were using them as ways to get around the map, and I didn't want that. So to record a secondary loop, what you need to do is you hold down shift when you click record. So if you want a 1-way secondary loop, you just left click record. If you want a 2-way, you right click record whilst holding shift. And it seems to be working really pretty well. So yeah, the other thing that I've started doing with some of the fields, so this field, I'm in an entrance which is in the northwest corner of the field. Because we're going to East Coast Grain, which is on the east of the map, I ended up setting a point in the northeast corner. And what I want to do is those fields which have multiple entrances and exits, I'm going to set up waypoints on a few of those, so that it will be closest to wherever it needs to go. So yeah. So back in the 7240, and we're going to apply lime. So I'm using precision farming, if you hadn't remembered on here, and just doing automatic lime application. We get through about 2 spreaders full of lime, just under, I think I just about managed to finish the field on the second one. The field's not in awful condition, but it's not in great condition. That's always the case when you start precision farming, isn't it? The first time you run around a field, you use quite a lot of lime, and some of these bigger fields are going to be course play and auto drive to get them done. So I've kind of lost my thread because I've literally just spent 20 odd minutes talking to myself, doing this commentary, and I could see in front of me that OBS was recording and it was all fine. I stopped the recording, and I'm actually wondering if it's because I was running my laptop in low power mode. So I've just hit the gaming button and then had to move the mic away because it's going to get loud. Hopefully that might be the reason. I don't know. It's the difference that I make from when I normally record. But yeah, it was really quite... I did think initially I could recover it, but the speed difference was not consistent through the file. So yeah. Hopefully I haven't wasted this first 4 minutes of rambling to you. I'm trying to think about what I was talking about. So it's Wednesday currently. It's Wednesday evening. I am away with work again. Actually, it's the first time I've been away with work for a few weeks because of the whole migraine thing. And I actually wasn't going to finish recording this video today because of the whole migraine thing. So, so it's the first day I've been away since since migraines have been really bad, and since I've been on the new meds as well, and by the time I got here, so I did a day in the office, which is the first time I've done a day in the office in a couple of weeks. The day in the office had a bunch of stuff I had to do in the office, so that kind of worked. Then drove to where I am tonight, and by the time I'd done a day at work and then done 2.5 hours in the car, I was wrecked. So I hadn't actually finished recording the gameplay for this video when I got here. I have now obviously finished recording that. So I finished recording the gameplay, and I was going to just play a bit of Farm Sim and then crash for the evening. And I was feeling a bit better, so I edited the video and did the bits I need to do to be able to record commentary. Sat and recorded the commentary, went to finish editing the video so that I could render it, and the sound file was screwed up. The reason I'm trying to get this done at this point is I would like to go for a run this evening, but I want to hit render on the video before I go for a run, basically, because it can then render while I run. And the reason I need to go for a run for tonight, for tonight. So I'm getting back to trying to follow a proper training regime. I am significantly larger than I like to be. Let's put it that way. So I started training on Monday, nailed Monday's run, apart from the fact that I'm quite unfit and the meds are screwing me up. Then yesterday morning, woke up feeling quite headachy, so didn't go for a run. And by the time my head didn't end up feeling better much at all yesterday. Yesterday I ended up with the fun kaleidoscope vision stuff. So I didn't go for a run yesterday. Was up very early this morning, thanks to the dogs. Was in work ridiculously early, so went to the gym before work. We have a gym at work, so I went to the gym before work, trying to get back to doing that as well. And then by the time I'd done the day at work and the drive, I just kind of got to the hotel and I was like, I'm just going to play Farm Sim, crash for the night. But starting to feel a bit better, have drunk a best part of 2 litres of water since I've got here, which might be one of the reasons I was feeling a bit rough. And going to get this finished, hopefully edit it, go for a run, see how we feel. So obviously, because there's crop in the field, I'm destroying it, but it's going to be ploughed in anyway. This is going to be this soil would be a mess, wouldn't it? You're ploughing in plants full of potatoes. But I was happier with this result in the end. I did not intend to harvest this field, and so I'm struggling to remember what I spoke about as I was doing this video versus what I've just done commentary versus what I'm talking about now. So yeah, I'm glad with the decision. Smok, this explains my cryptic answer to your comment about on the poll about me finding a way to get around not leasing. Actually, by the time you made that comment, this field was 90% ploughed in, I think. Well, no, maybe 80, maybe 60% ploughed in. Yeah. Anyway, it's been ploughed in. It's going to be planted with oats this month and rolled in. Yeah, it's really hard to do this twice. I'm going to say that. So we're going to plough this field in. I can talk about the other bit that I spoke about. So I'm getting a lot of questions, but I think because there are some new viewers to the mods that I use. So on the right hand side, we have around the speedo and the rev counter, we have the HUD that enhanced vehicle adds in. You'll see in a moment I start using the enhanced vehicle GPS. I started in the wrong place. I thought I was on the long run of the field that I wanted. I was actually not. I want the bit that's directly in front of me. I want the one that runs perpendicular to the bit in front of me. I sort that in a minute. So yeah, using enhanced vehicle for GPS on here, it also has a whole bunch of other features, diff locks, stuff like that. It's the bit that's adding in the fuel and damage levels on the top right as well. I don't have any tutorials on enhanced vehicle. There are some really good ones from some smaller channels on YouTube. Go find them. Go watch those. If you search FS22 enhanced vehicle, I think they come up. It's how I learned about enhanced vehicle. Then on the left hand side just above the map is Simple Inspector, and I'm getting asked a lot about this as well. Simple Inspector is a great little mod that basically tells you what's going on with active vehicles on the map. So if you're playing on multiplayer, you can set it to do just your farm or multiplayer, and it'll, if you've got that, it breaks it up into the different farms. And so what you can see on the screen now, if I was a good editor, I'd zoom in for you. I'm not, so I'm not going to. Is the text in blue is me in the 7240. And then underneath that, we've got the 2 tractors running on auto drive doing the carting, and we've got the combine on courseplay. Now, the really cool thing about this is if you've got courseplay running, it will tell you how long is left on the courseplay course. If auto drive is doing a karting run between, say, a field and a sell point, it'll tell you how long that's going to take. So if, like in the situation I've got here, where I've got carters running 2/3 of the length of the map, you could be able to easily tell if they're going to get back, or easier to tell they're going to get back before the combine's full. And also, if you keep an eye on it, like I'm doing this job, I tend to keep an eye on it, because if the times aren't going down, it probably means they've got stuck and you need to go fix something. So that's another helpful little tool as well. And Simple Inspector is a must-have mod for me. I run it on pretty much every save. Enhanced Vehicle is a new one for me. So it's the first save that I've used it on seriously. That's mostly because of the macro keyboard that I set up to work with it. The other GPS you will see me using on the Farming the Decade series, which is the Let's Play I have running at the moment, is with VCA. I do have a tutorial on VCA. It's quite an old one, but it checks out. Sorry. No one likes Star Trek jokes. No one likes me taking the pee out of the fact that it's a Star Wars joke. Anyway, it's just been a long day. Yeah. Really am stumbling through this. I'm sorry. This is probably awful to watch. I do have something that I actually want to ramble about. So I've done the ramble once. I'm going to do it again. I was watching some YouTube videos earlier. And so I have 4 dogs. Regulars will know this. New people might not. There are some new people about. The views are going up on the videos. I have 4 dogs, and I was watching some YouTube videos, and there was a Canadian person that said they'd just got their dog back from it spending a month at dog college. And what I took from that is they'd sent their dog away to be trained to, I guess, behave and obedience and all that kind of stuff. Now, 3 of our 4 dogs have been through, our 2 collies. The collies are clever dogs. When they were younger, we took them to obedience training, we took them to agility training, we did, as part of the training school that we were at, we did demonstrations at public events with them. One of them used to go into schools for kids to read to, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But a big part of training our dogs was training us, the humans, to work with the dogs. It's at least as much of the process. And so it seemed kind of weird to me that you'd send your dog away because you're not part of that process. But I'm curious if that's a thing that you guys have heard of before. Those of you with dogs, what do you think of it? It seemed a bit weird to me. Yeah, so the schools thing, this is something that Mrs. D and the teenager used to do with a couple of our dogs, one of the greyhounds and one of the collies, and one of our old collie who's no longer with us. So all 3 of them actually used to do something called pets as therapy. And so they would go into old people's homes and hospitals and stuff originally, and just cheer people up, stroke the dog, be happier. And then 2 of them ended up going into schools for, it was kids that struggled with reading out loud, because they found that they would read out loud to dogs. And in the end, we also found that they would talk to the dogs about problems. And that meant that the school occasionally learnt about some kids that had some other problems that they weren't aware of, because they'd sit and talk to our big old dumb greyhound. I can call him big and dumb. He's, you know, he's the dog that wakes me up at 4 o'clock every morning because he misses me. They would sit and talk to him and tell him stuff, and then the school would hear, and then they could help the kid. So it was a really cool thing that Mrs. D used to be involved in before she had all of her disability problems. So our dogs have done a lot of different things, but all of those, as they learnt how to do them, involved whichever one of the 3 humans in our family was part of that process learning as well. Not someone teaching our dog and then us going, okay, cool, thank you, taking the lead and cracking on. Seems a weird process to me. Anywho, this ramble is very different. This whole commentary is very different. So, something else that I want to talk about, actually something I'm going to throw in now, is I want to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel owners. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and you are awesome. It really helps out with, you know, the stuff that goes on in the background. If you're curious about any of those, there are links below. If you're watching the Farming the Decade series, so the series that was on Maypole and is moving to Glenlarvan, then the multiplayer aspect of that is accessed through Patreon. Yeah, you guys are cool. The other thing that I want to talk about is, so we're pretty much finished up with ploughing this field in. I've got to seed it and roll it. It's not a massive job with the 6-meter seeder. And then that'll be it for the jobs to do on the farm in October. The combine is auto-driving course play. I've had a chat and worked out the combine needs to go and refuel itself, so it's going to do that. I think that's such a cool feature. So I jumped across so you could see it. Yeah, so, and there's a lot of contracts that I could do. You know, there's cultivating contracts, there's harvesting contracts coming up, there's seeding contracts. And I don't like series where the creator goes, oh, between videos we've just made £1 million because I've done all of the contracts. Personally, I like to see the progression, but equally I think it might get a bit dull if I've got 4 videos of me just grinding contracts. So my question to you is, do you want to see any of that to start off with? Probably what I'm thinking of doing is, so this video has examples of all of the ways that I make videos, the 2 ways that I make videos. That bit in the middle, not quite in the middle, is what I call an almost live video, where I'm playing and recording the commentary as I play. Less of my videos are like that. More of them are like this, where I've played, I've edited, and I'm recording commentary afterwards. What I think I will do is probably get snapshots of me doing all these contracts, probably grab some pictures or footage of nice bits of the map that I see, like the one at the start. So you guys will get to see more of the map, and I'll edit that into the odd video, which is not going to be 40 odd minutes long, but it'll be me rambling over the top and talking about what we're doing, and it shows you where the money's coming from. It shows you the work being done, and it suddenly isn't me going from, let's say harvesting the cornfield in November 1 and then going, it's March, I've got £700,000 in the bank, I don't have any debt anymore, and we're going to go and buy 5 fields. Because personally I like to see the journey that the series goes on. So and I know most of you do, but I just wanted to check. That one of the things I did talk about at some point in this video, I think maybe, but I'm going to mention it again, is, I did the whole poll as to whether I should harvest this field or plough it in. Clearly we've ploughed it in. Again, I generally don't drive the series through comments and stuff like that. So exceptions to that are Sometimes I will ask the patrons for input into setting up a series or that kind of thing, if it's a really big decision. This series is very popular at the moment for me, and it was a nice way to get a little bit more interaction on it. Was all. I'm not suddenly going to have YouTube comments driving what I do for everything before you guys panic. Yeah, I've almost made it through the second attempt at this. Hopefully this audio file works. If it hasn't, you won't have heard any of this. It's making me ponder recording the audio in a different way in the future. So I record audio into OBS the same as I used to record the video, and then I mix it all in DaVinci Resolve. There are other apps I could use to just record the audio, which I might do in the future, but not today. So just going around the edge of the field now, picking up any stray bits that I missed, because I did miss some bits. There's a bit in the middle of the field just up here where so enhanced vehicle GPS is much less aggressive than VCA GPS or guidance steering at getting you on the track. And so there is a bit where I hit the button and it was kind of a bit lazy getting me on the track, and so missed a bit. I'm going to blame the equipment, not the human. It was probably the human, but let's blame the equipment, shall we? Yeah, so I'm planning to go for a 3-mile run, assuming this all works, along the River Severn in a bit. That should be very nice. I don't usually run in the evening, but because I'm away, I can. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope this sound file has worked. Thanks again to Farms in Briscoe for sharing the map with me early. Hope you guys are excited, and any comments, questions or suggestions, stick them below. And as the sun sets, see ya.